must also include this mistake he's made his whole life of thinking that everybody thinks I'm great.
Yeah, and listen, he's had a lot of help. You know, fragile systems bend towards the most dysfunctional person in them. And we've seen this time after time in Donald's life. The ground zero for this was my family, of course. And then it was the Republican Party. And then it was the DOJ, both in his administration and in President Biden's administration. Time after time after time, we've seen that people in those systems make a choice, whether it's Aileen Cannon or Bill Barr or the Supreme Court or Merrick Garland, whether it's out of fear or favor, they intentionally or not, consciously or not, come down on the side of protecting or elevating Donald Trump. So it's not any wonder that he would think that he would be able to control any situation he's in. And that's why we're going to be seeing some very potentially disturbing behavior from him in the courtroom and outside of it. And, you know, after what, 4 or 5 days, it's already manifesting it.
He's nervous.
What'd you do?
On Tuesday, April 4th, 2023, Donald Trump entered a Manhattan courtroom and pled not guilty to 34 crimes.
Squash it.
Fucking movie star. You're a fucking movie star.
Said tick, tick, tick.
The breaking news this Monday, the prosecution have brought forward their first witness in the hush money case, which is currently being heard in New York. And Trump's lawyers have had, well, it's hardly a surprise. I would say they're underprepared. They are literally not probably the best lawyers available to anybody in a defense trial. And, wow, it went exactly as you would have predicted.
Left court in the civil division with the other witch hunt with Miss James to come here and see our client. The fact that we have 2 courts, not one, criminal and civil, being used against one man because they cannot beat him in the polls is a disgrace to the American judicial system. He should not have 2 teams of lawyers here today. He should not even be here today because he did nothing wrong. It is the epitome of a witch hunt. I just left where a judge asked us whether our cash bond, sitting in, Miss James wanted to argue and say that our cash somehow isn't green enough. We wasted time. The judge made a comment saying he thought that money market accounts could go down under the amount. He doesn't even understand basic principles of finance, but this was the man that decided that we owed money and my client committed fraud. We are going to attack every single one. 1 hour, the Attorney General and that judge realized quickly that they had no idea what they were talking about. We came to an agreement that everything would be the same, we would modify terms, and that was it. This is where your taxpaying dollars are going, America. Right here. Witch hunt after witch hunt. President Trump's company was worth more in that case than it is now. And now what? We're here because of something that happened when he was in the White House that wasn't even wrong. It was not wrong. You hire lawyers to solve problems, lawyers solve those problems, you pay them. That's it. This is a joke. It's an affront to the American Constitution. It's an affront to our judicial system, and it's an affront to every lawyer that cares about their license, that cares affront to the American Constitution. It's an affront to our judicial system, and it's an affront to every lawyer that cares about their license, that cares about what is right and wrong. I am sick of coming in front of the press and saying this, but you have to, because you people need to understand what is going on. God forbid you put an accounting thing in for legal counsel. It's legal counsel. And now our taxpayer dollars, my time, our attorney's fees, are all here because they're afraid of 2024. And you know what? They should be, because the American people are not stupid. They see what's going on. Thank you.
Leah, one question. Was Trump's family with you guys across the street?
Something I could do with your help on. Ainsley on Fox, is she basically saying if you do the crime and you get caught later, that means you won't want to go into politics? Or is she saying don't do the crime in the first place? Or is she saying, oh, people have done the crime, but let's forget about it? She has a daughter. I'm just asking the question, if anything happens to her daughter at any stage, is she saying a few years down the line, it doesn't matter? Please help me out, because I'm a bit confused.
But look, the consequence of this case, it could be life-altering for the former president. And that's in the hands of these 12 people.
Does this set a precedent for other people who want to run for president? What if they've done something like this in the past and they could say, oh, well, they told me in 8th grade they wanted to run for president, so since they paid off a girl when they were 30 years old, then that was election interference. Right.
Anyway, right back to Whingy Guy here. Props and to MSNBC, who literally just decided enough is enough. And they, well, you see for yourself, talk about fact-checking in real time. Stop that garbage like this.
Interview on a conservative network called Real America's Voice. Here it is, Donald Trump talking about the jury in his trial.
That jury was picked so fast, 95% Democrats. The area is mostly all Democrat. You think of it as just a purely Democrat area. It's a very unfair situation, that I can tell you.
That jury, 95% Democrats. Again, the last item in the gag order forbids Trump from making or directing others to make public statements about any prospective juror or any juror in this criminal proceeding. Andrew Weissman, still with us here tonight. The gag order has been the discussion that I feel like we've had around the edges of this case a lot, because it's the way that Trump has tried to kind of shape the environment around this case. It's going to be in the courtroom front and center tomorrow morning at 9:30. What do you expect Judge Merchan is going to do? What are you going to be watching for?
So you have Donald Trump clearly goading the judge. The fact that he's doing something that appears by all accounts to be a direct violation of the order as late as tonight, in advance of a 9:30 hearing on violations with respect to witnesses and a violation with respect to jurors, both of which are things that a judge is going to care tremendously about. I think obviously he's going to hear from the defense, and, the betting is that he's going to certainly say that there was a violation, and he could impose the fine that is obviously negligible, and he can saber rattle about what's next. This is one where what I would say, if he were sitting right here, I would say leave aside politics, leave aside what he's goading somebody to do. What would you do for any other defendant? We have seen the legal system bend over sort of so far to accommodate Donald Trump. He is not being treated worse. He is being treated so much better.
And that, what she just said, is one of the problems with this particular case, in terms of whatever goes on in the court, he comes out, says what he's got to say. Obviously, all the networks take what he has to say. He never answers any questions. There's no follow-up. So it's almost like nothing is being fact-checked. And for the Trumpy Trumps who believe anything, I mean, literally, if he says he's going to drop an egg from the space or drop an egg from the moon and it will land, fine, they'll believe it. That's the problem going on right now. I don't know what the answer is. And if anyone can let me know below, are any of the other court cases he has coming up, are any of them due to be televised? Something tells me perhaps in Georgia. But if you could confirm that for me, please. Thank you.